There are tons and tons of face mask tutorials online right now, and I wasn't going to do another one, but I've had so many people asking me how I'm making the ones that I have been posting lately. So I thought I'm going to run through it really quickly. I've got these down to a science for me. I can do these pretty quickly, assembly style. I do one step on all of the masks that I'm doing, and then I go to the next step and do the same step on all of those masks, and then so on and so forth, so that I'm not making one mask start to finish at a time. I'm doing step 1 of all the masks, step 2 of all the masks, step 3 of all the masks. And I find that really speeds up the process, as well as a couple of other shortcuts that I've come up with. For the fabric ties, I know everyone's out of elastic. I am just serging a piece of 1¼ inch fabric in half, and it makes a perfectly great tie. When I get done at the end, I'm just going to tie the ends like this, just to keep the end from coming undone. And this end will be sewn into the mask. I'll show you a quick video on how I'm doing it, but this really speeded up the process. I just take the strip, fold it in half, slip it under the presser foot, and then just fold it as it be. When that one's done, I just start the next one. I'm just using a seam allowance so that I'm cutting just a hair off of the edge. Also, a lot of the healthcare workers that have reached out to me have asked for the ties because the elastics, after wearing them for their long hours and long shifts, starts to wear on them a little bit. So that's what I'm doing. Using a rotary mat has also speeded up the process tremendously. So what I'm going to do, I have a PDF of the pattern that I'm using, but I have actually cut out some acrylic templates, which have made it super easy for me. You can make templates out of acetate, you can make templates out of cardstock, you can do all sorts of things. I actually have the ability to make acrylic templates, so I have these. They're about 1/8 of an inch thick or so. I will be searching the group if I see people making these at for service workers or something. I will reach out to you and donate a set of these as much as I can. I wish I could give them to everybody, but I simply can't. So we have part A and part B. You need to cut 2 outer of part A and cut 2 lining of part A. And then part B, you're just going to cut 2, and that's going to be your filter pocket. So, like I said, I find it really easy. I'm going to cut, I have 2 layers of each fabric, and I am going to cut my outer and my lining all at once. So right now I'm cutting all 4 pieces I need for the outer and the lining. And using the rotary mat makes it so easy. So there I have all 4 pieces I need for the outer and the lining, and then I'm going to do the same with my mask. Actually, I'm going to cut this in half so that I can make my hearts go the right way. Let's see if I can fit this. See, the mask will be this way. Well, my hearts are going to be going up and down, so that's okay. And I'm just going to cut this. This I find helps so much because all of my pieces are made to fit together. They are cut exactly the same, mirror images. So you're not trying to match up uneven pieces of fabric. So the first thing that I do is match pretty side to pretty side of my outer and my lining. I'm going to take these 2 pieces over and serge the straight edges really quickly, just so that I don't have to do a 2/4 turn. But if you don't have a serger, you can absolutely just fold it once, and then fold it twice, and then stitch those down. So I'm gonna go ahead and serge those short ends. When I serge, I just chain them. I will do my whole stack of the filter pockets. I will just do the whole stack, serge those straight edges, and then just clip those threads in between. And then I have that step done. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put these pretty sides together. So once I have this step done, I'll have my stack of my filter pockets, I have a stack of my linings, and I have a stack of my outers. I will then take it over to the sewing machine and stitch all of the round edges. Just 1, 2, 3. And again, I will do the whole stack of them. Like if I'm doing 8 or 10 masks at a time, which is usually what I try to do, I will do the whole stack of the linings. I'll do the whole stack of the outers and the whole stack of the pockets. And again, I just chain stitch all of these and then cut them apart at my table. When I'm done, I'll have a whole chain of 10 or so, or 20 or whatever. So once I have that done on each of these, if I used a large seam allowance or I have room, I will clip into the curves with my pinking shears. If you don't have pinking shears, you can use, just put snips into your seam allowance. But this makes it faster. So the next step is to open my lining fabric. And I'm not worrying about pressing this at this point. I do press my fabrics before I start. And then you're going to open your filter pocket, which is the shorter one, part B, and lay that right on top. So you got wrong side to right side. This is pretty side up, right side up. They're both right side up. And then you're going to open your outer fabric and put it pretty side down, just like that. And I'm going to match up those center seams. Clip. And these are cut so precisely because I layered the fabric like that everything just lines up perfectly. And again, I will do this step on all of them before I go back to the sewing machine. I will get them all clipped together, all ready to go, just the way I want them to go. I'll have a stack of them all clipped, and then I'll do all the sewing at once. And I just find this is so much faster. All right, once you have that done, you're going to take it over to the sewing machine. You're going to stitch from edge to edge, top and bottom. So from here to here, from here to here. So I've just done that step. So I've just sewn across the top and across the bottom. The sides are open. So now you're going to reach inside, and you want to reach in between the outer fabric and your filter. So you should be looking at two pretty sides. If you reach into here, you're going to turn it right side out and think you had your fabric wrong. So reach between the two pretty sides and turn this right side out. And I do have my iron set up right next to my sewing station. This makes this whole process even faster. All right, so now you're going to tuck that fabric into place. Should be looking like this on the back. You've got these raw edges, you've got your filter pocket. Just like that. And again, you can take this over to the sewing machine and stitch these down. I did do that on some, but it's really not even necessary. If you don't have a serger, just turn it down once and then turn it down a second time. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it over the ironing surface and give it a nice press. Make sure these corners are rolled out. But for the sake of the video, I'm just going to skip that for right now. You're going to take this end and you're just going to push those raw edges inside about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, somewhere in there. Just try to get them even. Bada bing, bada boom. And again, I would press it. And then you're going to take one of your ties, stick it right inside on the top, clip it, take another tie. I try to put the serged end on the same end so they're both facing down in this case, but you can do whatever you want. Go to this end, same thing. Oops, tuck your ends in. And again, I do this all at the sewing machine. So I've got my iron right there. And I do all 10 of them with this step before I take this back to the sewing machine. Clip. And one more. Just sandwiching that in there. Clip. All right. So again, make sure everything's pressed. Take this over to the sewing machine. I like to stitch on the top side. You're just going to top stitch all the way around the mask. And you can go back and forth over the ties if you want. I haven't found that it needed that because it's getting sewn when it comes up here and it's getting sewn when it comes up that way. So go ahead and stitch all the way around and you're done. This is the finished mask. You can see it's got a pocket for the filter right here. If you want to add a filter, it goes all the way through. It has the fabric ties. I do knot the edges to keep those serged ends from coming undone. I need to trim these up, but super easy to mass produce. If you do step A, cut all 10 of your mask part A, and you're going to need 2 outer and 2 lining. Part B, cut all of these out. Next, cut your straps out. Serge all of your straps. And then start your assembly one step at a time. Hope this helps. See you guys. Bye.